Hello everyone, and welcome to my BNB Fan Club channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Bill had always possessed a strong sense of control. As the head of Spencer Publications, he molded narratives, twisted reality, and wielded authority like a weapon. But this was personal. Luna, with her big eyes and ferocious energy, had served as his anchor through life's tumult. When she told him she was expecting, he was ecstatic, envisioning a legacy that would carry his name on. But rumors had begun, and doubts crept in like shadows. The father, Finn, a charming but untrustworthy artist, appeared too ideal, too convenient. Bill's gut had shouted that something was wrong, and he'd learned long ago to trust his sense. He had ordered the paternity test in secret, manipulating ties at the hospital to preserve confidentiality. The results had arrived that morning, and they'd broken everything. Finn was not the father. The real father was someone else entirely. A man from Luna's past whom she had never acknowledged to Bill. The name on the page was Tom, a vagabond who had passed through Los Angeles years before, leaving Luna sad and alone. Bill's mind raced, piecing together parts of conversations, moments when Luna appeared distant and haunted. Why hadn't she informed him? Why had she carried this load alone? Luna sat on the edge of the hospital bed, holding her sleeping infant in her arms. Her face looked pale, and her eyes were red from sobbing. She'd given the boy the name River as a reference to her childhood fantasies of a wild and unrestrained existence. Suddenly, those dreams felt like a cruel joke. She assumed Finn was River's father, and had formed a fragile hope around him, even as he began to withdraw. But the moment Bill confronted her with the prospect of a DNA test, something in her shattered. She knew deep down that the truth may unravel everything. Luna's closest confidant, Katie Logan, sat by her and held her hand. Katie had been through her fair share of storms, betrayals, heartbreaks, and love battles, but nothing could have prepared her for this. She'd witnessed Luna transform from a bright, ambitious young woman to someone burdened by secrets. Bill had called her, his voice taut with anxiety, and she had rushed to the hospital, recognizing the gravity of the situation. As she gazed at Luna's shaking hands, she felt a sense of helplessness. "We'll get through this," Katie said quietly, though her heart was heavy with worry. Deacon Sharp, our unlikely buddy in this mess, reclined against the wall, arms crossed. He'd been drawn into the drama when Bill showed up at his tavern, seeking information on Tom. Deacon had known Tom for years and had shared a few beers with him at Il Giardino, but he never expected the man to leave such a mess in his wake. Deacon's life had been full of wrong choices and second chances, but he cared about Luna. She had always been nice to him, even when others thought he was a jerk. Watching her clutch her kid made him feel protective. "This Tom guy," he announced, breaking the stillness. "He is long gone, Bill. Are you sure you want to pull him back into this?" Bill turned with burning eyes. "I do not care where he is. Luna and that youngster need to know the truth." His voice was stern, yet there was a tremble of sadness underneath. He had failed Luna once, years ago, when he was too preoccupied with his kingdom to notice her troubles. He would not fail her again. But when he gazed at her, he realized the cost of his insistence on the truth. Luna bent her shoulders and locked her gaze on River, as if she could protect him from the approaching storm. The hospital room felt too small, and the air was dense with unsaid anxieties. Luna eventually spoke, barely above a whisper. "I didn't want to believe it," she replied, her gaze fixed on her kid. "When I met Tom, I was young and stupid. He was different. He saw the world in a manner that I had not seen before. But after he departed, I believed I could bury it. I thought Finn was my chance to start over." She stumbled on the words, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Now I've lost everything." Katie gripped her palm tighter. "You didn't lose everything, Luna. You have River." Katie felt the weight of the untruth as she said, "You have us." The truth about River's paternity would change everything, not just for Luna but for everyone. Katie has her own history of secrets and men who promised the world, but only delivered pain. She wanted to shelter Luna from the judgment that would come when the truth was revealed, as it always was in their society. Bill paced as his mind raced. He wanted to mend it, make things right, but how? Tom was a ghost, a man with no ties or responsibilities. Tracking him down would be like chasing smoke. And what happens if they find him? Would he want to become a father? Will Luna even want him in her life? Bill's impulse was to battle, to make the world conform to his will, but this was not a boardroom. This was his daughter's heart, and it was broken. Deacon pushed off the wall, his face softening. Look, I'm not exactly the parent of the year, but that kid needs you, Luna. Not some man who didn't hang around. And Bill, you might not need to use a sledgehammer to fix this. Maybe you just need to be there. His words were simple, but they cut through the tension like a blade. Deacon had seen enough damaged homes to understand that love was sometimes the only thing that kept the pieces together. Bill stopped pacing, his gaze fixed on Luna. He recognized the little girl she had once been, the one who looked at him as if he could do no wrong. He'd spent years chasing power and creating a legacy, but it wouldn't matter if he lost her. I'm sorry, he admitted, his voice breaking. I pushed for it. I believed the truth would set you free, but all it did was harm you. Luna raised her eyes to see his. For a moment, they were just father and daughter, free of secrets and anguish. I don't blame you, she replied quietly. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to be a mother when I'm so lost. Katie rose up and embraced Luna. You're not alone, she declared vehemently. We are your family. We'll work this out together. But as Katie hugged Luna, her thoughts turned to the impending ramifications. The media would seize on this, turning Luna's anguish into headlines. The Forrester family, which is constantly circling like vultures, would utilize this to undermine Bill's business. And Finn, poor stupid Finn, would be taken aback when he discovered the truth. Deacon watched the situation unfold with a troubled heart. He'd spent years escaping from his own errors, but seeing Luna's sorrow made him want to remain and be the friend she needed. I'll make some calls, he replied quietly. See if I can figure out where Tom ended up. He left the room without waiting for an answer. As the door closed behind him, Bill knelt by Luna's bed and took her free hand. I don't know what comes next, he said. But I am here. I'm not going anywhere. His voice was firm now. The fire of his will softened by love. Luna nodded, tears flowing down her cheeks, and for the first time that day, she felt a spark of hope. Outside, the world was waiting to tear their story apart. The headlines would read, Scandal, DNA bombshells, and broken hearts. But in that quiet hospital room, with River resting blissfully in Luna's arms, Bill, Luna, Katie, and Deacon discovered something more powerful than the truth. A bond that could resist it. They were a broken and divided family that clung to one another in the midst of a storm. The days after were a flurry of murmurs and revelations. The media picked up on the story as Bill expected. Spencer Publications attempted to control the narrative, but the truth was too raw, too personal. Luna became a target, with her anguish discussed on talk shows and gossip blogs. Katie stayed at her side, deflecting the worst with a tenacity that startled even her. True to his word, Deacon pursued leads on Tom, but each led to a dead end. The father vanished, leaving behind memories and a child he never met. Bill immersed himself into safeguarding Luna, using every tool at his disposal to keep her safe from the public's cruelty. But late at night, when everything was quiet, he would sit by River's cot and watch him sleep. He recognized Luna in those small features, and the resilience that had gotten her through so much. And he promised with every fiber of his being to be the parent she deserved. Not a business giant, but a man who listened, loved, and remained. Luna, on her part, sought solace in her son. River's laughter, his tiny hands reaching for her, served as her anchor. She had no idea what the future held. Whether Tom would resurface, Finn would forgive her, or the world would allow her to recover. But as she glanced at her family, Bill, Katie, and Deacon, she realized she wasn't alone. The truth had shattered her, but it also revealed who would be by her side. And with that, she found the courage to keep going, one painful, beautiful step at a time. Bill paced the floor of Spencer Mansion, his mind racing with opposing ideas, each louder than the last. The papers in his palm, which contained the findings of the DNA test, appeared to burn his skin. He'd always expected issues in this convoluted mess involving Luna, Katie, Deacon, and Will, but nothing prepared him for this. He had discovered the truth, Luna's baby's biological father was not who everyone assumed. The revelation was shocking, and when Bill put one foot forward, the entire weight of it fell on him. Luna sat in the living room, shaking, her eyes ringed with blood. When Bill summoned her and Katie, promising to tell the truth, she tried to remain firm, but in the seconds before he entered, she burst into tears. Now she looked up, forcing a feeble grin, but her hands trembled so violently that the chair rocked beneath her. She knew some of this was coming, but she thought the ultimate moment could be delayed or soft-landed. But Bill's face informed her that there would be no soft landing. Katie waited near the doorway, rigid, her look a mix of fear and rage. She had secretly pleaded with Bill not to let Luna disgrace Will, not to destroy everything we had established, and not to rock the boat any further. But Bill, after many sleepless nights, determined that some realities needed to be revealed. Even Deacon had joined them. Luna's shaky friendship with Deacon was founded on secrecy and half-lies. He braced himself for whatever would come out. Bill cleared his throat, folded the papers, and stated in a quiet, tight voice, "I have the results of the paternity test." All eyes were on him. Luna's breathing caught, Katie's face became pale, and Deacon moved forward. He went on, "The baby is not Will's." The world paused for a heartbeat. Luna gave a gasp. She leaned back, as if struck. Katie looked like she'd been punched in the belly. Deacon clenched his jaw. Something inside each of them tore. Bill held the papers as a shield, unsure whether to soften or press harder. He continued, "I confirmed everything personally. I checked with independent laboratories. The match is obvious. Bill Spencer is the biological father." Silence fell like a weight. Luna's lips parted, and she attempted to speak, but no sound emerged. Katie's mind reeled, unable to accept that Bill, her husband or ex or soon-to-be, was the father of Luna's child. Deacon, who had previously served as Luna's guardian, appeared stunned, as if he knew he had backed the wrong side. Luna eventually croaked, "No, that's impossible." Her voice cracked. "You're lying." She cast a crazy look at Katie and Deacon, as if she expected one of them to jump up and claim it was all a setup. But they stayed frozen. Bill folded his arms, attempting to appear cool but failing. He continued, "The test does not lie. I'm sorry things came to this." His tone was confrontational, not compassionate. Katie's voice quivered. "Bill, how long?" The question hung raw. Bill's jaw stiffened. "For months. Luna never informed us. But I had my suspicions, so I requested that the lab test more markers. Luna's and my DNA were compared to that of the newborn. The match is 99.9%. It's me." Luna shook her head. "You tampered with it." Deacon's expression clouded. "You've lost your mind, Bill." Bill stood his ground. "I did not tamper. I requested an independent sample. Katie, you remember my laboratory. I didn't want any interference." Katie appeared tense, caught between fury and betrayal. With a hushed voice, Deacon faced Luna. "Was it always Bill, Luna? Did you plan it?" Luna blinked. For a minute, she appeared little and scared. She swallowed. I don't know," she murmured. "I needed security. I couldn't trust Will to stay." Her voice broke. The room seemed extremely small. Deacon's eyes blazed. Katie's look sliced through Luna with frigid betrayal. Bill interjected. "Luna, you must explain. Because this changes everything, for Will, Katie, myself, and Deacon." Luna breathed, pushing back tears. "I did what I needed to do. I modified a few things. I might have obtained samples. I am not proud, but I planned this so that the child would bear the Spencer name. I convinced myself it was for stability." Her confession landed hard. Katie's nails pressed into her hands. "Did you manipulate Bill? You stole? Did you mess with DNA? How far have you gone?" Luna's face tightened. "I obtained Bill's sperm sample from the hospital. There was a backup. I utilized it. And I did stuff to hide the markers so the baby may still be identified as Spencer lineage. I never intended for Bill to find out." The statement stunned Bill. Deacon's face ignited. Bill drew a nervous breath. "Did you use my sperm? You planned this whole thing to trap us?" Luna nodded, her eyes overflowing. "I was desperate. I feared abandonment. Will's love seemed transient. I needed reassurance. And when chance granted me access, Katie wheeled Luna. You're insane, Deacon whispered. That is insane. Bill stared at Luna sternly. You have damaged lives. You used people. You kept me in the dark, Katie said softly. But this baby is mine. She froze. Deacon breathed, hurt and rage mixed. Luna wept. Katie finally spoke. I'm finished. I can't look at either of you right now. Luna turned to go. As Deacon remained still, Bill took the papers and strode by Luna to his study, leaving them behind. Luna sat, shoulders trembling, head bent. Deacon stood next to her, torn. Katie's footsteps faded. Bill's door thudded closed. The moment was ruined. Hours have passed. Deacon stood with Luna in startled stillness. She gathered herself together, wearing a frail expression of sadness. Deacon's duty had been protector, confidant, and even lover, but now he knew she had kept him in the dark as she plotted. He listened as she tried to rationalize it, citing survival, terror, and desperation. But their trust felt irreparably destroyed. Later, Bill came from his study, deep in reflection. The mansion seemed hollow. He found Katie in her sitting room, trying to regain her composure and make sense of what she had heard. He paused at the doorway, silently watching her. She stood up, straightening her shoulders, as if bracing for a conflict. Katie's voice was clipped. Did you keep this from me? Did you covertly test her? Bill looked her in the eyes and said, You went behind my back. Yes, because I believed that the truth was more essential than diplomacy. Katie's eyes shone. Truth has repercussions. Bill swallowed. You've turned my loyalty upside down. Yes, but I couldn't live with a lie. Katie turned away. Bill moved closer. I'm sorry, Katie. Katie breathed. I need time. I'm not sure how we're going to move ahead from here. Bill nodded, sad. Deacon attempted to approach Luna in her quarters, but she backed away. Don't touch me, she replied. He paused. You used me too, he added softly. She stared at him, agony and guilt battling. I know. They sat silently. Deacon clenched his hands. You need support. This cannot remain buried. The repercussions will kill us all. Luna's voice cracked. I didn't plan for it to burst like this. Over the following few hours, Bill organized calls, lawyers, and lab directors, attempting to separate emotion from strategy. He had to think. Will's heart would break. Katie might leave him. Spencer's reputation might be wrecked. But there was one unassailable fact. This was his child, whether he desired it or not. Meanwhile, Luna and Deacon clung to their reluctant union, both aware that the deception had trapped them in a cage of falsehoods. Will strolled in later, ignorant and unprepared, and watched the heated standoff. Bill's face was etched with rage and sadness. Luna glanced at the floor. Katie held herself motionless. Will inquired as to what had happened. Bill gazed at him. It's not your child, he added, as if it meant everything and nothing. Will's world tilted. The discovery would have far-reaching consequences, including treachery, heartache, and broken alliances. But for the time being, the four, Bill, Luna, Katie, and Deacon, were joined together in this moment of reckoning, each damaged, implicated, and changed. As night fell, the issue loomed. How would they endure the aftermath?